Hi, beautiful souls. I hope y'all are doing well. I just want to give a little bit of an insight to something based off a reading that I did today with a client who said, "Is it crazy that I have conversations with myself?" And I was like, "Of course you're meant to have a inner dialogue with yourself. How is that crazy?" And she was like, "But I speak to myself like I'm speaking to somebody else." And I said, "Let me tell you something. You're actually not just this self. You are this self in the present, but you have a past self, which is your inner child, throughout all of your pasts, not just childhood. Even a few years ago from now is your inner child, if you know what I mean, your younger self. And then there's a lower self and a higher self. So depending on what you're thinking about or talking about, you're talking about the past, the present, or the future, you are speaking to your other self, basically. And you know, when you're going through a certain situation in life and you feel like your life is either over, or you feel like your life is difficult with no way out, I always like to say, imagine yourself in all those other situations, or maybe one, if not most. Some people have had many deaths, many deaths, or many I think it's called ego deaths, where in Sufism there's a saying where you have many deaths before your actual death, departure. And there's certain situations where you feel like it was a very difficult situation, but you came out of it. We never realized the transition of coming out of a situation until it was like years later or something, and we're talking about it like it's a story. 155 on the timer. So you may be seeing 155s, or you may be seeing 122, but I'm getting the same way that you got out of situations in the past, and your present self is looking back like, oh, I dealt with it that way, I overcame it this way. Even you're being a bit critical about how you should have done things and stuff like that, nevertheless, you're still grateful for coming out of that. Of course, your future self is going to be thinking that way about the situation that you're in right now, how you deal with it in this situation, because you are going to be out of this situation if you choose to, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna tell you guys my experience, how I used to deal with it. Maybe this is something that would help you deal with your circumstances a bit better. I always saw my life as a movie, and I always saw my life as a story. It's gonna sound very like narcissistic or egotistical, minakia, what anyone says, but I always saw myself as the main character of my life, and I always knew I was going to look back in my life. I have I always think about how I'm going to look back at this situation. It's like I knew subconsciously growing up as a child that everything is life is not a game. Life is not like people say life is a game. People say life is a test. People call life many different things, but I just knew it's just a period, a phase. Everything is just a phase. You know, if you see life as like that, you won't have attachment, and you won't be so bothered, affected, if that makes sense. It's just all a phase, and it's all, what do you call it, just a time period for something to play out, something that's needed to correct something or align something. The way I see life, the way my brain works, I've been seeing Einstein everywhere. I don't know if you see Einstein, but the way I see different pathways, and this is how I'm able to tap into people's past, present, and future, because I can see the pathways. I can see the different possibilities and probabilities depending on the decisions, the actions that you take. See your life that way. I know not everybody sees things the way I see things, but everything has a cause and effect. So depending on how you deal with things, is going to create a certain experience. Instead of living life where things are happening to you, be the controller, the director of your life, where you recognize your decisions, your actions are what is causing the effects, the experiences in your life. If you want better experiences in your life, take the control. And like Netflix, where these movies now, they give you a bit of control about how the outcome of the character's life goes. Please let me know if you know in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about, where you can pick what decision they make and then the outcome of how the movie plays out. I swear that's legit how I used to think my whole life. No, sometimes I would think it actually. So be the director of your life, take control, be more conscious and aware, because when you take the control, you make conscious decisions in your life instead of subconscious decision in your life, and you don't understand why things are happening the way they're happening. Do you know what I mean? So it takes practice, but you'll get there.